Welcome to the English Learning Podcast by Mehsà Academy. Okay, let's dive right in. Today, we're going inside the oil and gas industry, a seriously massive business that, honestly, powers a lot of what we do every day. Countries all over the world depend on oil and gas to keep things moving. Cars, planes, even the lights in your house most likely get a little boost from this sector. Now, when people talk about the oil and gas industry, you usually hear about upstream and downstream. Think of upstream as the start of everything. It's all about figuring out where oil or gas might be hiding underground, and then doing what it takes to get it out. This is where exploration and development come in. Geologists play a huge role here. They're the people who, sort of like detectives, analyze rocks in underground layers to look for hydrocarbons. Whenever they think they've found a good spot, drilling companies come in and set up wells. These wells could be onshore, like out in a Texas field, or offshore, miles out at sea, on those big metal platforms you see in pictures. I remember this project I did with my students once. We grabbed a bunch of maps and tried to find oil ourselves. Well, not real oil, but we used clues like rocks, layers, and even imagined seismic surveys. Students got super into it. One group even argued over the best spot for hours. And in the end, I think they really got how big and tricky this early exploration step is in real life. Anyway, once a good spot is found, the drilling team gets to work, setting up and, actually trying to reach the oil. Sometimes there are dozens of wells, and it's always a mix. Land, sea, wherever those geologists point. All right, but it's not just machines working out there. There's this whole team of people at the drilling site. You've got roughnecks, no, really, that's what they're called, who handle a lot of the heavy physical work. Then there are pipe fitters who make sure the pipes are connected and running, crane operators who move these giant bits of steel like it's nothing, and techs or maintenance folks whose whole job is to keep things working and safe. And maintenance is no joke out there. It gets busy, loud, oily, and things wear out fast. Now, when you picture all these people, don't forget the tools. Screwdrivers, spanners, bolts, nuts, washers. It sounds simple, but without them, you really can't connect, fix, or build much of anything. And mechanical systems are everywhere. There's the driller itself, a massive piece of gear that, honestly, if it stops working, everybody stops working. Actually, I read about this one site offshore in Norway. Hundreds of workers, all sorts of nationalities, lots of shouting over the machines, and each person knows their role inside and out. I mean, it's teamwork in its purest form. You might have a roughneck handing off to a crane operator, then a pipe fitter jumps in, all while technicians run checks and fixes on the fly. Wild, really. So once the drilling's done and oil or gas is bubbling up, the next step isn't just sell it and walk away. The operating company steps in and starts managing the well. There's a production operator who controls the flow, making sure what comes up goes safely into pipelines and gets moved off to plants. And that's where the magic, or I guess the science, of downstream happens. Downstream is all about turning that thick, sticky crude oil into the fuels and chemicals we use every day. Gasoline, diesel, you name it. It's processed, refined, and checked for quality before it ever gets near your car or home. One time I took a class on a tour of a local refinery. The kids couldn't believe that what starts as black, muddy-looking crude oil ends up as clear fuel in the pump. Like, it kind of blows your mind when you see it in person. And something to remember, companies have to keep these processes running safely and continuously. No break, no mess-ups. Because, well, everyone depends on that steady supply. So, from looking for oil way underground, to drilling and building huge teams, to finally refining it so you can drive to work or school, that's the journey inside the oil and gas industry. I hope this gives you a better idea of just how much goes into the energy we use every day. All right, that's it for today's episode. Thanks for joining me, and hey, we'll be back soon with more deep dives. Take care.